And welcome back to Total Sports with Ali and Sam. This episode, we are going to be looking at Lee Carsley's first England announcement as interim manager. Ali, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you? It's been an interesting selection, but we'll get
It,
more into that now.
it has been a really interesting selection. So what we're going to do is we'll pop that selection up on the screen now. And now we're going to have a little look through the players just to see if they warrant their place in this first interim squad. So, kicking off with the first positions in the team, we're going to be looking at goalkeepers. So, Lee Carsley selected three goalkeepers, Ali. Um,
Yeah, Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford, and Nick Pope. I don't think any England fan can really have any complaints. I'd say they're the three on form at the moment.
yeah, they're the three strongest keepers available. No real surprises there for me. Jordan Pickford might be in there on the skin of his teeth at the minute with that mistake that he made at the weekend. What do you think?
Yeah, possibly. And just seen that Aaron Ramsdale is going to Southampton for 25 mil, so that's an interesting one to look out for.
Oh, has that happened already, has it?
I think it's close, yeah. But we'll see. Can he push one of the three? Because he was in and around it, wasn't he? And then he just like wasn't playing for Arsenal, and then
Yeah, that's the problem there, isn't it? Since David Raya has took the number one jersey there at Arsenal, I think he's really struggled to get game time whatsoever, hasn't he? And it's made it really difficult for his England selection because he was on the peripheral for a rather long time, wasn't he?
yeah. And I think it's a really interesting. Ramsdale's a good keeper, but they just wanted one that's more ball playing, and that's why David Raya came in. So will
Yeah,
he? How
fantastic
will he
shot
do it?
stopper, isn't he, Ramsdale?
Yeah. How thing is, how will he do at Southampton? Will Could he keep them up potentially?
I think it's a good signing for them. It shows intent from them because you'd like to think they may well be relegation fodder Southampton. So the fact that they've gone out there and spent a lot of money on a decent goalkeeper would suggest to me that they're looking to push. If they get relegated, does he stay?
Yeah, I'd say he has to stay. Like, who else? Who else will he go to? That's the big. You've just signed. Like Ramsdale's just signed what? Like probably like a 4 or 5 year. I think he signed 2029, 2028.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go down, unless he has like a relegation release clause, I don't really see where he goes next because it's not like it's a loan, is it? So he can't go back to Arsenal.
Well, yeah, yeah. So going back to the goalkeepers, who do we think will be starting against the Republic of Ireland in Dublin?
I think it will be Pickford. I I just because he was good in the Euros. He's been good at for Southgate when he was here, and I just think unless Carsley switches up and goes Nick Pope, because yeah, Nick Pope is probably the most in form keeper in the English keeper in the Prem.
Yeah,
But I just think Jordan Pickford will keep his spot. What do you think?
I tend to agree with you there. It'd be a good shout if Nick Pope does get the start, but I'm leaning towards Pickford for this one, to be honest with you.
So next up is defenders, Sam. Let me hear your thoughts.
Some surprises there, isn't there? With
Yeah,
the introduction of my pronunciation is gonna be honking here, so apologies. Tivo Livramento. Is that how you say it?
Livermore. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Newcastle player, isn't he?
yeah. The right back. I think he's got good potential. He's a good player, but I just don't know if he did enough to get in. Really, I know it's the first one, and it's
I,
his first senior call up, isn't it? So
it is indeed. Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that. I think it's one that Lee Carsley's brought up from the under 21s to go along with him. The surprise information there with defenders is that Kieran Trippier has decided to retire from international duty. What are your thoughts on that one, Ali?
yeah, well, we all remember his free kick, his famous free kick. Yeah, he's done well for England, and yeah, we wish him the best for his retirement.
Do you think this is a sign to come with the stalwarts of England starting to retire now? So those older players. So do you think Kyle Walker will be on the way soon? Do you think Maguire? Do you think Pickford? Those type of players that have been around for a while and maybe coming to the end of their international careers. Do you think? that is a sign of things to come, that the next ones will be happening soon? Or
I wouldn't say soon. I'd say within the next few years. I
Hmm.
don't. Some of them may stay for the World Cup, but I really don't know because you've seen with other countries, like loads of like older players have decided to just retire, and because the World Cup is the next competition. It's 2 years away, and I get where they're coming from because they don't really want to be playing in friendlies and like qualifiers if they're not going to be at the next major tournament.
2 years is a long time, isn't it? If you're a little bit older compared to some of these younger names that are coming into the squad. So let's just go over those defensive players that he's been called up as well, as the ones we've already mentioned. So you've got Trent's been called up there, Levi Colwell, Guy's been called up, Conser, Rico Lewis, Harry Maguire is back in the squad, and John Stones has also been called up.
See, Maguire is a weird one because I don't see it. Like he does well for England, but if he's picking based on form, I don't. I just don't see him being past this one
Do you think
because
it's a
United
safe?
have
Do
got.
you think it's a safe call up? I think it's a proper safe call up.
Yeah, I think Ghazi's gone really safe. He's gone right. Who did well under Southgate, and who can I bring up from the under 21s? And yeah, it being his first call up, I think he's just played it safe, and we'll see what happens because obviously we've got Republic of Ireland, which will be an interesting one between us.
Yeah, I think not many people that watching may know is that I'm a bit of a diehard Ireland fan. You see, I was planning to go to this game, but unfortunately, circumstances kind of didn't allow it. But I'm sure I've got this feeling that me and you will end up watching it together, Ali.
Yeah, probably.
I've got this feeling, and I've seen the Ireland squad. I'm pretty confident that, not saying that we'll get a win, but I feel we could get some type of
Yeah,
result from this. A draw
didn't
for the Ireland team would be class for us.
yeah didn't I see that Leicester youngster Casey McAteer? Did
Yeah,
he got called, didn't he? I saw that for his first Ireland call up. Sorry.
yeah, I'm really happy with that from an Ireland point of view. To be honest with you, we do really well at home in Dublin. We've got a decent enough record, so I've got a feeling that something might happen. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Um, but it'll be nice and refreshing for me personally to cover something that's not an England game as such.
Well, yeah, because we were there. We were there in Germany when the England played Slovenia. I
It
want to
was
say, yeah.
Slovenia. It was
Yeah, it
Slovenia.
was Slovenia. Yeah. What do you think to some of these youngsters like the Rico Lewis and the Levi Colwell that's getting the call up?
I think it's that time for change. Obviously, the Euros was class. England did well, but it's now finding that step pushing forward, isn't it? Because we've got to remember that with Carsley, the players that he's brought through have won a tournament with him quite recently.
Yeah,
So he does know what he's doing. He's maybe not a household name, but I think it's the right progression forward. And this is kind of how England need to go. Although Carsley has played 40 times for Ireland, he is very proud to be an England fan. And I watched the press conference when his announcement earlier today, and he says that he's very proud to be the England manager.
yeah. Well, one shocking name that's never really been in the England squad is Tamori.
Yeah, we were
Again,
talking about him
he's
off screen, weren't we? And yeah, he's a big call up that's missed out there.
yeah, he's never been in favour though, has he? He's playing in Serie A, but hopefully, if Carsley does go and watch the Serie A, will Tamori finally get his chance?
Well, I think I'm not sure if you've seen the press conference yourself, Ali, but in the press conference, Carsley was saying during the Euros, his assignment was to look at other groups in that tournament. So the fact that he might have a bit more of a knowledge of other players from other leagues may see that he's looked at other leagues as well. In the good hope, because Tamore does warrant a place in this squad, even if he doesn't if he doesn't play, it's neither here nor there. He does warrant that call up. But I think for now, I think that's defenders covered.
Yeah, I think let's move on to midfielders.
So now we move on to the midfielders of this England squad. So a couple of surprise call-ups here. We've got Angel Gomez from Lille and Morgan Gibbs-White. What do you think, Ali?
Yeah, I think Angel Gomez. Well, no one can tell me they were expecting Gomez to be included, but I
Yeah, you
think
would
it's
have been
just one
happy
of
to put a
them.
tenner on that call-up, wouldn't you?
Yeah, can you imagine? But no, I think it's Carsley playing safe again from the under 21s. So we'll just see. Hopefully he gets some minutes. I think first senior call up. Will any of them get minutes? But yeah, with Gibbs White, I think the call up was imminent. The call up has been coming for a few times. I know a few people wanted him to the Euros.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he missed out. But yeah, I feel like he's a deserved one to finally get the call up.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. So let's just touch on the names there that have been called up in the midfield for England. So we've got Phil Foden there, Conor Gallagher, Angel Gomez, Kobe Mainoo from Man United, Cole Palmer, who's had an excellent weekend last weekend, Declan Wright, and Morgan Gibbs White. So some big names there. And I think for me personally, I'm not really an England fan, as we've touched on already. But that's progression for me, that side. He's gone young, he's gone for talent. I'm a big fan of Phil Foden personally. So the fact that he's got the call up and you've got Gallagher and Mainoo in there with Palmer, I think that is a strong midfield. What do you think?
Yeah, and especially when you think of it like the likes of Bellingham injured, and that's why he didn't get called up. And I just think there are a couple more that maybe should have been called up, but are just unfortunate. And I think, yeah, he's gone young, and I do think it's a new experience that not many England fans have experienced over the recent years because Southgate always went favourites and like who he knew played well.
Yeah.
And Carsley's got a bit. Oh, I don't know about these. I know they've played well for me under the under 20 in the under 21s.
Mm-hmm.
Will they play in the first team? But I think it's a new experience and it's exciting. It's an exciting one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And with all due respect, it's the Nations League as well. So it is that type of fixture where you kind of can mess around with a squad a little bit and not get too much punishment if the desired result doesn't happen.
No,
And I'm not saying that Republic of Ireland or Finland are easy games, but compared to some of the other fixtures in the Nations League, they are the lesser of the nations, aren't they, in those leagues?
yeah, and I do think that you talk about like the surprises, but the set ones were the Phil Fodens, the Palmers, the Declan Rices, even Mainoo. I feel like he's done well in his first season at United in the United first team. So I think he's another up and coming one that will actually really do well with the under 21s coming through. So the last little bit to talk about is the forwards. Sam, there aren't really too many shocks in this one, is there?
Yeah, there's no real surprises here. Jarrod Bowen deserves his place. Harry Kane was always going to get selected. Seeing Anthony Gordon in the side is a good thing. For me personally, one of my favourite players in the Premier League at the current time, Noni Manduki. I remember him at PSV. I went and watched him at PSV versus Leicester when they were in some European competition. He was immense then, and he's had a great weekend as well, hasn't he, for Chelsea? So I totally understand why he's getting his call up. Another one that came through the under 21s with Lee Carsley.
Oh
Any
yeah.
thoughts on the forwards for you, Ali? Or?
Well, yeah, that's a common theme, isn't it? The under 21s and Lee Carsley, because sticking to what he knows, they won a tournament as well, so you understand it. The only real surprise for me is Jack Grealish. I don't think he's done enough. I don't think he's done enough to warrant a spot. Like you talk about Marcus Rashford being left out. I don't think he's done enough, but arguably he's played more minutes than Jack Grealish.
Yeah. For me personally, it's going to be a good test of character for Grealish because obviously the summer was a bit of a heartbreaking one for him. And me personally, I thought he deserved the call up. But has he got strong enough shoulders for these games? Because when he goes back to Republic of Ireland, his home ground, he's going to be in for a lot of stick. Because I think this is the first time England have played Ireland since he left Ireland setup. So has he got the stones for this? Is the big question, if I'm truthfully honest with you. But he does prove it time after time after time in the Premier League, and when he's gone back to like former clubs before. But is this the big occasion where it could get the best of him due to the fact that he didn't get selected in the summer?
Well, you think Grealish isn't the only one, is he? Declan Rice, formerly Ireland
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
They're,
But I think Jack Grealish, from an Irish point of view, was the one that was going to be closer to the the full Ireland squad. I think we were always knew as an Ireland fan that Declan Rice wasn't going to be there. You got to remember when Jack Grealish was very young, he didn't show all the big talents that he's showing now. So I personally thought he would be a Stonewall Ireland player for a long time. But the fact that he's obviously took the England route, can he deal with that pressure and the pressure of not playing in the summer? It's going to be a lot on a young man's shoulders there.
Well, yeah, and while we talk about young under 21 players, let's talk about Harry Kane. You speak earlier about Kieran Trippier. Could he be retiring soon? That's the big question.
That's a massive question, Ali, and I'm so glad you brought it up. I think Harry Kane should have retired after the European competition. I think it proved a lot of holes in his game. And not that he's a bad player. I think he's just getting on a little bit. For me personally, his legs went. During the Euros, his legs are clearly gone. And that factor of pace at the highest level, you kind of need it still. And I get that he's England's all-time top goal scorer. But is it that time for change? But Ollie Watkins hasn't done himself any favours over the weekend, has he?
Well, yeah, but Ivan Toney as well. He hasn't played a Premier League minute due to transfer and whatever, like going on behind the scenes.
I think that's why he didn't get called up, by the way. I think because of the behind the scenes uprest about the moves and all that stuff, that's why he's not being called up. Because how could his brain be there in the England squad focused when he's got so many other factors going on behind the scenes?
Well, yeah, and like also, England do have options at striker. They have Watkins, Toney, Wilson when he's fit, and is Harry Kane. I know he's a great goal scorer. No one can deny that.
Oh, it's no doubt, no doubt.
But he is getting on a little bit, and the big question is: will Harry Kane be in England's World Cup squad?
That's a very good question, and I think there's only two people that can answer that question: Lee Carsley and Harry Kane.